Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Real Sports Scope. I'm your host, Robert Butler, on this 17th day, folks. Listen, I wish I could be here 5 days a week. I'm in the process of moving to a new apartment, whatnot. Hopefully, in August, get back to more of a steady schedule. Maybe by October, get more of a 3 or 4 week, at least a 3 day week schedule here as we get into football season. But for right now, you just got to bear with me in the process of moving, and it sucks. So, but anyways, I got a great show with you for tonight. Got the Mad New Yorker backstage. Got a lot to talk about tonight. TJ Watt's going to be with the Pittsburgh Steelers for a few more years, of course, as we can see. Damian Lillard getting paid 3 years, $70 million to recoup, on top of what he's already getting made to recoup from his Achilles heel tear. Plus, Shamir Stewart, interesting news on that holdout with Cincinnati. Joy Taylor, a ton of FS1 shows canceled and firings. Going to talk about that with the Mad New Yorker. SEC, what SEC team did they had media days? What SEC team will make the playoffs that did not make it last year? We'll talk about that as well. Stand by. We'll take our first and only break, and we'll be back here shortly and talk about those things and more here on the Real Sports Scope. Hello, Sports Scope followers. The program has seen tremendous growth since going 5 days a week. I just wanted to thank everybody for your cash contributions and sharing the program with friends and families. Just a reminder, if you want to contribute to the program, go to the Cash App, the cash sign, and Sports Scope. There are other ways to contribute to the program listed at the bottom of the screen. If you want to advertise on the program, go to sports, that is sports with an S, another S, scope, SKOPE, at gmail.com, just like it's listed at the bottom of the screen. Thank you and enjoy the program. All righty, then. I'm back here live with the Mad New Yorker, and I'm trying to see if I can find our applause button, which I hope I did not. I hope I did not accidentally delete, even though I've got some other stuff here. But let's have it for the Mad New Yorker. Oh, here we go. Yes, the crowd there. We've had to find them. We've got so many videos, and they've redone this thing. How you doing tonight, man?
Doing fine. Thank you for having me, man. Happy Thursday.
Woo. Yes, Midsummer Night's Blues here. Just kidding. Hey, it's a lot going on. A lot of news just broke as just before we got on the program. TJ Watt thought he might get traded, wanted an extension, wanted some more money. The Steelers, my take on that, since this just broke, the Steelers are like the Cowboys in certain one sense. Jerry Jones will always pay his stars no matter what, and more often than not, the Pittsburgh Steelers will pay. They will pay. Bless you, brother. They will pay their defensive players no matter what era we're living in. That just goes to show you the highest paid non-quarterback, 3 years, $123 million extension. What's your thoughts about that news that just broke?
Yeah, I think it's good for him, right?
He's doing pretty good.
I don't think the Steelers were going to get anything that they wanted if they would have traded him. They're always looking to move people as far as contracts.
Yeah.
And I think with TJ Watt I don't think there was a team out there willing to give them a higher pick than the second round, to be honest with you. And that's, he's often injured. He misses an average of 5 to 6 games a season. But when he's on the field, I mean, you get what you pay for. So
yeah.
And right now that the Steelers are in where they're at right now, it would have been a bigger loss to them if they would have let him go anyway. So I have them as a black horse in that, and I think they'll be in the playoffs for sure. I don't think they'll get past the Ravens, but in the playoffs. But I think this is an opportunity for them to kind of like, move forward and just not have to worry about TJ Watt as a player and what he's gonna, where he's gonna go in the future. So I think it helps his defense a lot. So
yeah. I think he's 31, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
And I think they'll be a good team early in the year. I wouldn't want to play them week 2 or 3, the first month between him and Jalen Ramsey. But these guys, like you said, he gets banged up every year. He's a very physical player. He's going to get banged up. And then you got Rodgers there at quarterback. They're going to be an interesting team. I kind of get a feel that they're kind of going all in the next 2 years. And then I think that Tomlin's going to retire. And then they're probably just going to hit reboot on everything. Coach, quarterback, the whole Chanel. Until then, they want to put people in the seats for 2025. So basketball news, could not let that go past me as well. You made a good point a few weeks ago, man. Maybe farther back than that. The NBA is they just give away money, don't they? I mean, I could see why that there could possibly be a lockout here. Damian Lillard gets a contract here to go back to the Blazers. Addition to it was a 2-year. What do I want to say? 70 million, or is it 3 years? Here we go. 3-year, $42 million contract to return to the Portland Trailblazers. That on top of the money that the Milwaukee Bucks owes him. This is just to get back from his Achilles. He's not even going to play next year, Carlos. And he's going to make about $70 million for the next 2 years here. 2+ years here. I mean, it's life good to do less money. Like Don King said, only in America can you get paid. So, people that want to take dumps on this country, who else gets paid like that, man? Are you surprised that they gave him this money to come back to Portland?
Yeah, I'm not surprised that they gave him money to come back to Portland, but the amount of money I am surprised at. But at the end of the day, like you said, and like we have to understand that he's not playing next year, and Milwaukee's going to pay that anyway. So
yeah, they own the money. Yeah,
this is a way for them to just kind of make a good switcheroo. Milwaukee gets rid of a contract, and then a player that they're not going to have on a squad. So the Blazers return to somebody who people know, people are comfortable with. He's was the face of the franchise, and when he gets to play, or I'm not sure how much longer he's anticipating to be there. And so, he's back and he's going to retire with the franchise. Sounds like it. That's what it looks. It looks like a good move for him and for the Blazers, and just give him something to aspire to as far as getting back to the game. He's going to be back in Portland, so he shouldn't be uncomfortable coming back from an injury to go back to the Blazers.
Maybe they like his leadership skills. Bring him in to help Scoot Henderson, the young player there, plays the same position. Remember, he got a lot of hype coming in.
I just think the Blazers like the discount, right? You don't have to pay him; he's on your team, and and you can still and you can go back to selling like overstocked inventory that you have a Stoudemire jerseys. Like, so it's like you're not, and
it's all business, yeah,
right. Like, so what are we going to expect to see from him as a basketball player? It's yet to be seen. What is he, 36 years old, 37? Like
35, probably be 36 this year. Yeah, he's got some miles. He's not even going to play. He's got Achilles, man.
Right. No, I'm talking about when he gets back. Like,
yeah. I mean, I think he was born in 90. Yeah. Just had a birthday. He's 35. Yeah. Happy birthday, Damian Lillard, July 15th. Had a birthday 2 days ago. The day's the 17th. So be 35. Like you said, it'll be 36. And just getting a ton of money, man. I mean, golly, the NBA just throws away money.
Yeah, Robert, he's getting money that he's owed, like in a contract that was promised to him. It's
A
not
while
like
back, yes.
yeah. So that if somebody signs a paper to pay him, then that's that's on them. But we can't think that the Blazers they're going to get money in other ways, right? They're going to keep seats they're going to keep the seats filled, and you'll be able to sell those Stoudemire jerseys. So,
You started Lillard.
I mean, I'm sorry, Lillard.
Yeah.
Lillard.
You got Stoudemire on the mind.
Both of us.
Mighty Mouse.
Yeah, both of us have him.
He was a baller back in 2000.
No, I caught you saying it, and then it just got stuck in my
head. That's what I thought you said.
Mighty Mouse.
But you probably got I got allergies and stuff. It's hard to hear too. I just had a really bad sinus infection last week. I'm just now getting over it from this particular week. It's something in the air around the country, Chief. Something. This is interesting. I normally like to just bash the Bengals, and I don't mind bashing the Bengals tonight. But there is this holdout is interesting here. This Shamir Stewart, this first-round pick. We're just talking about how teams are overpaying people, all this guaranteed money in the NBA, and for what, The Bengals here are attempting here. This is, I think he was like the 17th pick. He's held out all camp, and he's been working out with Texas A&M. But Mike Elko, the coach there, said he's not going to come back to A&M this year, which I thought that was going to be the story. That story also broke today. But this is what Cincinnati's side of it is. The Bengals, this is what I got from online. This is through CBS and Yahoo, ESPN, the usual suspect. I love this AI thing. Basically, it's saying the Bengals are attempting to add language to Stewart's contract that would allow them to void, which means not pay, future guaranteed monies if he defaults on the contract. This essentially means they want the ability to void his contract if he violates any terms, even for on-field conduct like a suspension. There's departure from the language used in recent Bengals first-round contracts like Amari Mims. Stewart's camp is pushing back, argue new language sets a negative precedent. The core dispute is a clause that allows the Bengals to void guaranteed. I don't understand what if the guy's got 1.5 sacks. I'll say this about Stewart. He does look the part. He's a great big old guy, 4.45. He's from Texas A&M. He ran a 4.540, man, and he's a defensive end. He's a beast physically, but he's only got a 1.5 sacks last year. You got to wonder if he simply just may be a bust anyways. But my thing is, I don't understand why he's not signing this contract. That's all I could find on this thing. I don't understand. That doesn't seem like that's too much. I was ready to bash him until I actually read over it. And as much as I don't like Mike Brown, that doesn't seem too over the top. What do you think about that, man?
I just want to know if he's had issues with his during his college career and before that. Like, does he have a criminal background?
There's something we don't know.
Yeah, is it an attitude problem that they mentioned before they scouted him and then figured out could he become a sour apple? Like there's so many things that we don't know about that are not in the talks of this contract, except for the fact that he's holding out and that the Bengals want out of guarantee money if he does somehow or another coming into any issues. So look, the reality is if the Bengals want it and the agent and the player are wanting, and that's an issue, that's on the player and the agent. Look, you go there, you got an opportunity to play NFL and NFL Football League. You're getting paid like very well, and you don't want to behave, or you have an issue with a team telling you that if you don't behave and you go against our contract, we won't pay you guarantee money.
Right.
I signed that in 2 minutes. Like, bro, like, you don't gotta tell me nothing. Like,
Especially guys like us have had to work for every penny.
Not just us, but like just think about what it makes him look. It makes him out, even though his age is probably trying to protect him as well.
Yeah.
Like, it makes him out to be like somebody who can't be trustworthy, right? Like somebody who has an inability to be a rule follower. And that to me, if you thought of him of that in that way, why did you draft him anyways? Like,
because the Cincinnati Bengals, and I know, have a history of drafting troubled players that are really good athletes, and they want to find bargains on them.
And then on the flip side,
acquired players like that. Right. Remember Pac-Man Jones, for crying.
Pac-Man Jones. They've.
Who was that linebacker that knocked?
I was gonna say they've had a few players that were over the, that played over the edge, and he got in trouble a few times and paid.
You know who I'm talking about?
Briscoe? No, not Briscoe. What's this guy's name? I know who you're talking about.
Because Antonio Brown.
Yeah. I can't remember his name.
I'll find him.
But
But he was a questionable guy coming out of
yeah, I mean
Vontaze Burfict.
Perfect. I knew it was the B.
Yeah.
I knew it was a B. I couldn't remember. Listen, look, it works on the flip side too. You've worked so hard to get into the actual draft. Like, not every college football player gets into the draft. Like, a lot of kids kind of seem to miss that boat and not understand what it takes to get into the NFL draft situation. Like, you got there. You can't sit there and tell somebody straight in the face, you're going to pay me $10+ million and all I have to do is behave and play football. Like, you got to think about these things.
It sounds easy as 1, 2, 3, right?
Right. And I'm just like, so I think it's on both sides. One, if you feel like that about somebody you drafted, you shouldn't have picked them to begin with. And two, if you're that person, you can't keep your head on a swivel and you can't just follow directions and be responsible, then you're going to get the consequences. Right. What it is. So it's on both. And these are situations that these teams deal with every single day. General managers get fired and hired for this reason. And look, I mean,
right.
If you got a rap sheet and it ain't got nothing to do with music, stay away from these guys.
Like, yeah. For example, this broke today as well. I don't know what's like News Thursday. I don't know what it is, but ESPN. I'm reading this from Adam Schefter. A Dallas County court judge just sentenced the Chiefs Rashid Rice to 5 years probation and 30 days of jail time that can be served during those 5 years stemming from his role in the multi-car crash. We talked about this during the 2024 offseason. Now that judge has ruled the NFL can expedite its disciplinary process and is likely to receive a multi-game suspension. So, but if the NFL doesn't suspend him, say, for example, the Chiefs got to pay him. Cincinnati's saying, we don't want to have to pay a guy that's on the news that makes our organization look bad. So I can kind of side with the Bengals there.
Yeah, no, but the Kansas City Chiefs will have to pay him when he's on the field to play. The question, what is in question for this specific situation is guaranteed money if he does anything wrong. Now, we don't know what Rashid's contract says. What language is?
I'm just using that for example.
Right,
Cincinnati doesn't want,
Right. So
it's the case the league doesn't suspend him.
Exactly. Right. So, and another issue with that is, as much as they talk about throwing it back and forth, that's going to go into the NFLPA for them to handle anyways. So, if you're doing knucklehead stuff and get knucklehead consequences.
Remember, he did a hit and run.
Yeah,
that's a really bad wreck, and then you see him on camera running away from it.
I mean, the thing about that is, he just went back to the Chiefs, right? Just returned back to the Chiefs.
Yeah, he got hurt and went back. It's Rashid Rice. He's a very good player. My guess is he'll get about 4 games, maybe 5, and then he'll.
He might just get 3 because they'll
fill it to 3, maybe.
Yeah, because then he won't be allowed to play any preseason games. Remember, they can count that.
Really?
Yeah, remember, like if they'll tell you, you can play preseason and 4 games, and then it's like a 6-game suspension, right?
I'll have to look into that.
It depends on the situation and the player as well. So,
that would be great if he had that situation.
I mean,
they still got to do 30 days. Now he could do that in the off season, according to that report. Yeah. So, Shamir Stewart, I don't know. That dude may be a bust.
Papers, dude. Get your money, and then earn your money. Behave. Like,
yeah.
Do your due diligence to just be just focus on being a good player.
Like, when I sign this contract, dude, I'm going to be drinking. I'm going to be at the strip club, and I don't be worried about my money. That's what he's thinking.
I don't know what he's thinking, but there's a lot of guys who do things that don't seem like any other person can do, like riding a motorcycle, even riding a motorcycle without a helmet. Like those kind of things are in your contract.
Ben Roethlisberger, I remember that.
And they do these things, and I'm like, you're getting paid millions of dollars, and your lifespan in the league is 3.5 average in the NFL.
Average, yeah.
Right. So for 4 years, you can't avoid getting on the motorcycle without a helmet or with the helmet. Like, come on, man, give me a break. These kind of things and the way that people think and when they're signing these huge contracts is the reason why these owners can get straight to the point and be like, if you do such and such and such and such, we're not going to pay you. And it's still the paperwork gets signed, and players still don't always get paid what they get signed.
From what Texas A&M said, you got to wonder maybe he was a little bit of a knucklehead. Why wouldn't you want a star defensive end to come back and play for you?
No, they didn't want him because you know what it is they didn't want to put the time and effort for the paperwork that needed to be signed and all the.
Yeah, he'll have to take the NCAA to court.
And then on top of that, he probably would want to be a part of the defensive team that's getting NIL money and bonuses and all that stuff. And it's just easier for Texas A&M to be like just he's already got drafted. All he has to do is sign with the NFL team, and they wash their hands of that. That's it.
Before today, I actually had a different opinion, but once I started to read into it, this doesn't look – it looks like Stewart's kind of being difficult, and the fact that A&M – and now, of course, he could go somewhere else and possibly fight it. He's got a year of eligibility left, but because he's already deferred towards the NFL draft, but with these new rules, it's a little dicey. I don't know if he could get all that hurt. He still may miss a game or two. I think he just needs to sign this contract with Cincinnati, it sounds like.
If you're LSU, if you're Ole Miss, you take this guy?
Oh, yeah. Tennessee could use him. I mean, Ole Miss just lost their defensive tackle.
That's what I'm saying.
LSU has awful defensively,
Are you going to take this guy and you're going to put up with this whole situation of trying to get him back in school? Because it's not just like I
got to look and see, are there really, like you said, some character issues? Knowing Cincinnati, it's always trying to get, a bargain. They Devontae Burfict, Pac-Man Jones, Chris Henry. Remember Chris Henry?
Chris Henry, yeah.
I mean, he died tragically, but he was also known as a troubled player. He held on to the back of a car and chasing a girlfriend and tragically died. So, but that's Cincinnati, man. Own the Cincinnati. Go figure. Let's see. What else did I send you, my friend? There's a lot of stuff, guys. So we got to go rapid fire here, brother. Got to go rapid fire. Any thoughts? I mean, quick take here. Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson. The Jets get top corner and top receiver inked up for 4 years at least.
Listen, whatever they try to do is better than just sitting on their hands and just hoping that these guys will want to even think about staying here and playing here, because it's not, opportunities only come knocking a few times. So the team did a good job.
So you're okay with these extensions?
Yeah, because they're fairly young players. They played fairly well. The team hasn't had the opportunity to move on, but these are good foundational players, and it's good for the Jets to try to get ahead of the money, because it's only just going to get depending on how much better they end up getting and playing, the more play time, and as NFL players, they're only going to this price is only going to go up when they come to contractual time. So I think the Jets did a good job in offering them monies and getting them signed and just you don't want to hear about all that in the next season. Like, they just lost. They're not going to want to be on the team. Those things. The Jets avoided. This helps the Jets more than it helps the players, and it helps the team have a foundation. It's something that they really haven't done too well in the past. So this is good that they're changing and having a new mindset and changing things up a little bit, and having young players and making them foundational pieces for the team, because these are actually two talented, athletic players. Sauce Gardner is regarded as one of the best cornerbacks. Yeah. Wilson could be one of the best wide receivers. Last year was a little bit off, but I feel like
they had 101 catches. I mean, it's pretty impressive, actually. His numbers are impressive considering the fact that Rodgers
I was gonna say, like, now that they know that it's not Aaron Rodgers, the quarterback, and he's gonna actually probably have a better season, because it's not like it's not one of those things that happen. Aaron Rodgers being in the mix, I feel like, took more catches away from him than for him. I don't think Aaron Rodgers.
He got less targets because of Devontae Adams.
Yeah. So I think all that's gonna help him, and he's good. I feel like he's good for it. All now he has to do is do his job and try to get it done, and try to be a Pro Bowl all-star type of wide receiver. And
yeah. I mean, I like it too. I think it's very good. Those are 2 home runs from Joe Douglas. Yeah, he didn't have many, but those 2 were.
It's a money move, and it helps, and it helps the team in the long run.
Yeah, and I think he only got 4 years, which I like that.
Yeah.
I think 4 years is much better than 5. Yeah, 4 years. Yeah, keep him with the Jets, 90 guaranteed. Pretty consistent player. Mm-hmm. Gardner also known to be very consistent, not had the year he's had in the past, but it's hard to find a good corner. You need a number 1 wide receiver. If it don't work out, 4 years, that's not long. The guy's 25 years old, very much in his prime. I like that. And it's not that expensive of a contract, if you ask me.
Exactly.
Being a top 5 paid player here, although I feel for him having Justin Fields throwing the ball. I don't know how accurate he's going to be. Probably be running around all over the place, and a lot.
But they play together. But they play together in college, so.
They did play at Ohio State. That's true.
They'll be okay. I feel like that's a better connection than Aaron Rodgers, and so. Yeah,
much more athletic at this point in his career than an Aaron Rodgers. Now back to
real quick. I'll throw this out there, because they play together already. Justin Fields will be more. He'll be ready to throw the ball further and longer, knowing that he's going to have somebody that he's played with in the past.
I think they played 2 years together. I know they played pretty well in 2020.
Yeah, so 5
years ago.
Yeah, I'm just putting that out there. So
time goes by quick in the NFL. It's a good point. I totally forgot about that. Let's see. We had SEC Media Day this week, and
everybody's gonna get fired. Man, everybody's gonna get fired. That's the whole. That's everybody.
Is more money being spent on NIL now, where teams are hesitant to fire coaches? Or do you still think that coaches should be on the hot seat? Do you think they actually will be on the hot seat coming in?
No, right now, all the coaches in the SEC are flying Spirit Air. They're all in the hot seat, bro.
Spirit Air.
Let me just say that I think coaches in all the sports in the college world are a little bit edgy and uncomfortable because of what they have to deal with as far as recruitment and what the universities are doing for NIL monies. So they have their job, they have their contract, but it's not an easy situation. And now with all this stuff going on, Donald Trump just signed an executive order to try to, get the NIL to
squared away. There's been talk about that. I don't know.
That happened this morning. Your Thursday news day. That happened this morning about the executive order. So it's not an easy situation to be a coach right now in college, in any sport. So going back to football, I think that these guys need to win, and these executives of some of these universities, alumni associations, and owners, and the guys that run these universities, directors, their athletic directors, they're ready to just fire people left and right. So that being said, everybody's on the hot seat, and we shall see what's going to happen in the SEC, right?
Right.
So
it's a pressure cooker. It's always been a pressure cooker.
I think right now Texas and Georgia are in as far as what they got going on. Or
right. My question I sent to you though, and I want to ask this to the crowd too. Texas, Georgia made it last year. Tennessee made the 12-team playoff last year.
Yeah.
Of those three, take those three out. Do you see a team that has a good shot out of the SEC? The SEC's big now. You still got Oklahoma, Florida, LSU, A&M, Alabama. Teams that did not make it last year. Maybe Ole Miss. Do you see those teams? Do you see a team that did not make it last year? What team has the best chance, I guess, to be a better question, to make it to the playoff this year? And this was not an easy one for me.
I'll go top three. I'll go Alabama.
Or you can just give one that you really have the most faith in, that you say, okay, that team can make it this year that did not make it last year.
I think Alabama.
Okay.
Is the easiest team to choose.
Okay.
From their structure that they have, from the.
So you like this guy? What's his name? Ty. I think this guy named Ty Simpson is going to be their quarterback.
Yeah, I feel like they're the ones that are most likely the first ones in after Tennessee. Because the other teams have good rosters, but the experience, man, like not a lot of them have that much experience, and that's going to hold them back.
So you don't think, and the number right now is 2. You can make it and lose twice. I don't think you can make it and lose 3 times. Keelan DeBoer, Alabama fans are already frustrated with him because they lost to Vanderbilt last year.
Right.
And they did not make the playoff. They lost at Vanderbilt, Tennessee, Oklahoma, and they lost their bowl game to Michigan. But this guy, they got another year in the system. A lot of the Alabama fans, when I talked to this week, says, he thinks they're going to be fine. They open up against Florida State, who's also a team. That coach is on the hot seat for ever. Had an awful year last year.
Yeah. I was hoping Florida State. Didn't we talk about? Didn't we thought that Florida State was going to do okay, but they ended up not.
Right. They went terrible. They lost right off the bat.
Yeah, before the season started.
Yeah, you may have a good point here, man. I mean, they open up against Florida State. They got Louisiana Monroe after that. Then they got Wisconsin, which I'm still waiting for Wisconsin to show up with this new coach here. I think his name's Luke Fickell. And then they got 2 weeks off before they play Georgia. And then they play Vanderbilt again, at this time at Tuscaloosa the very next week. Then Missouri, then Tennessee at home. Now at South Carolina after Tennessee. South Carolina's quarterback is supposed to be a highly sought-after player, possible prospect. And then they got LSU on the 8th of November. They got 2 weeks off before that. They do get some breaks here. And then Oklahoma, and then Eastern Illinois, and then Auburn. So could they lose 3 games here? I don't know. Georgia, maybe South Carolina, maybe LSU, and maybe this is at Auburn. They got to play at Auburn this year. They got LSU at home. That's a pretty good pick. They could have 2 losses here. They could have 2 losses. I think they'll beat Tennessee in Tuscaloosa this year. But who's to say that they can't go on the road the next week and lose to South Carolina?
And that's the problem is they got a couple of trap games in there.
That's a trap game right there.
Right.
Because that game is but they got 2 weeks off for LSU. I don't know how they get these bye weeks. And then they got Auburn at the end. Auburn pushes them to the wire. Remember a couple of years ago, it went down to one throw the last time they played in Auburn, and Hugh Freeze is on the hot seat, even though he came in with a lot of hype for Auburn. So this is a good point here, man. They cannot lose to Wisconsin or Florida State. They can't lose them games in the first month, man.
No, they gotta be coming out like bang. When they play Georgia, they should be like 2-0, 3-0.
Well, my pick is going to be, and because they've spent more money in NIL, it's going to be LSU, and I'm trying to get their schedule. This guy, now I'm just saying this because this was said last year about Carson Beck from Georgia, but this guy, Garrett Nussmeier, could potentially, according to scouts, be the number 1 overall pick next year. I say potentially. He goes in here and lays an egg. He, for one thing, he wears a number 13 as a jersey. That's an unlucky number. I would change that. I would go to number 7 or number 1, like Cam Ward, or number 7, like who was Ben Roethlisberger was number 7, wouldn't he?
Yeah, John Elway.
John Elway was 7. I want to say Vic was 7, if I'm not mistaken. But the 6'2", 200-pound Nussmeier could potentially be the number 1 overall pick. They supposedly, in air quotes, tighten up their defense. They have a rough game to start the season. This is going to be a great game, by the way. He's going to be playing this kid, what's his name? Kublik from Clemson. You know, Clemson, that guy's supposed to be a first-round pick too. Cade Kublik, their quarterback. He's pretty accurate. I saw him the last game against South Carolina last year at the end of the season. He looked really good.
Yeah, he did.
This game, that's going to be tight right there. At Clemson, August 30th at 6:30 Central, 7:30 Eastern. That's going to be a game to watch.
LSU.
I think LSU will probably lose that game, but then they've got home game, Louisiana Tech, home game, Florida, which I think is going to be great. I was itching to really pick Florida, but Florida's got a murderer's row schedule. They play at Ole Miss. That could be a game they could lose. That's going to be a high. They got TBA on that because they're going to probably put that bad boy in prime time, which sucks. But their road games are at Vanderbilt, at Alabama, at Oklahoma to end the season. I think they could get out of this with 2 losses. That's if they lose at Clemson. And I think Brian Kelly will have a way to bring them into playoff. But that's one right now. This is July the 17th. My mind may change come August, just before the season starts. But as of right now, if I had to pick one, I'll pick that LSU team.
Okay.
Tighten up. I think they'll probably beat Alabama because they got 2 weeks off before they play them. And they got to play Arkansas at home. Maybe they lose at Oklahoma, but I don't think Oklahoma's got the greatest coach in the world. I think Nussmeier will probably play well. But we'll see. We'll see. Like I said, I wanted to pick Florida, but Florida, man, I love their quarterback, dude. But they got to play at Miami, at Ole Miss, at LSU. Then they got to play Texas after that. Texas is probably they got to play Georgia like they do every year. That's too many big-time teams. That's all together too, man. You know, I mean, that Lagway's a player. I think he's a good player. I think they'll beat Tennessee this year. They'll probably beat Miami this year. They'll probably beat Ole Miss and Kentucky and Florida State. But I don't know. Playing Georgia in the middle of all this, playing Texas A&M, playing LSU on the road, that's probably 2 or 3. That's that third loss that's going to get them out of it right there.
This season is going to be incredible because not every team can just lose 2. So
It's hard to go undefeated, man.
This team's gonna this year. These teams are gonna have a tough time, and
they're going to be cold. They're a dark horse. If you wanted to give 3, I would probably say Florida, LSU, Alabama. That would be my 3. I don't think Tennessee's going to make it. I just don't like their schedule, man. I just don't see it this year.
Yeah.
So what do you think about all this talk about maybe Nick Saban maybe thinking about coming back, maybe because of what the thing that Trump did, maybe because they're getting more stability in college possible. I know he's 74 come Halloween, or to the NFL. Do you see any of those things being a possibility?
If I'm Nick Saban, I would just stay a consultant and do everything and anything. Because once you're in Alabama or you're a college coach, you're over-consumed with things that have little bit to do with football, right? And he's a football guy. He likes to talk football, and you can tell he does. Because when other guys start talking about other things, he just kind of rears his head and is like, why am I here with these like talking this stuff? And he doesn't want to talk. He wants to talk about football, wants to talk about the guys on the field, what their skills are, what their level, what they can do for the football, during the football game. So I don't see him going back to coaching. I really don't. But if he chooses to, he can, right?
But you see him going to a team other than Alabama if he went back to college. What if they decided to keep the boy?
I'm not sure when he left Alabama, what his contract was. To be honest with you, as far as sometimes they have extenuating circumstances where you're not allowed to go to another team in the division for the next 2 years of your retirement or whatever. That's part of the retirement bonus, right? So
okay, I think he's some kind of advisor or something.
Yeah, I don't know what his contract says and what he can do, what he has availability to do. Again, all that is contract stipulated. So, like I said, if I was him and I was in his situation, I would just try to be a consultant and be able to do a lot of different things that have to do with football than just to do one thing and be a coach. Because in a season, he can get 3 or 4 jobs that pays him triple of what being a college coach would pay him.
It says they're paying him $5 million to be the advisory role. So essentially, here's a possibility. I don't think he should do it at 74, but I'm not him. He don't see himself as an average 74. Maybe this guy will live to be 95 years old. Who knows? But what if a team with the resources like a Texas A&M with this Mike Elko guy, what if they just said, this guy's not living up to the expectation? He's got 2 years in. He's not really took it to the place we thought he would take us past where Jimbo Fisher was. We got a lot of money. We got a lot of resources. Let's go after Nick Saban and compete with Texas in state here. I think that could be a possibility because of their facilities and everything. Mm-hmm. They would go after Saban next year, who will be 75 in October of 2026. That's a possible. As far, what about the NFL? Colin Cowherd says he thinks Nick Saban thinks he's a better coach than Bill Belichick. We all know about the story where Drew Brees failed the physical. If he didn't fail that physical with Miami, Saban would have stayed in Miami and had Brees, possibly could have won a Super Bowl. What about a team like here in Nashville? What if Cam Ward can play, but Brian Callahan has a team sloppy? Couldn't you see him coming up here coaching Cam Ward with the cap money? Ward coming in year 2, he's got a dealership right down the street from me. I could see him calling Nashville home and trying to get that Super Bowl of saying, okay, I can be the GOAT. 7 national championships, 1 Super Bowl ring. I'm better than Bill Belichick. Possibly, yeah. I think he could talk his wife into living here in Nashville for 3 or 4 years. What do you think about something like that?
I think that's an interesting situation. But if you look into the video, if you listen to what he's always said, that he'd rather coach kids and try to be an impact as a man, teaching young men to become better men than him. And I'm switching the words around a little bit, I think, but I feel like he's more of an impact man than he is a money guy. I'm sure he hasn't turned down too many deals and left that much money on the table. But again, he's created a situation where he makes decisions that he looks to benefit in the long term.
Yeah.
And like it took him
I think he just needs to scratch that itch, man. And I don't think he can get it done enough with what he does with ESPN. But
I don't think he's worried about his NFL record. Like I don't think that's something that he wants to think about and be like, I'm gonna fix this. I think he's more like that wasn't gonna work. That didn't work for me. No matter what I do, it's not gonna change through that. And he moved forward. And when he moved forward, he actually became an even better coach because he knew that in college he had a bigger effect on young men. Then in the NFL, you have to coach football players who don't listen to you, who don't pay attention to you, who sometimes take a longer time to adjust and jump on the ship that you're captain of. So I'm not sure if he wants to do that and struggle doing that, no matter how much they pay him.
Or just the challenge of doing it. Yeah, that may be true. Then again, he might not even do this.
Right. That's me observing him and listening to what he says at press conference and when he talks about, man, and it's not just Alabama. He talks about these guys who he taught. He was a coach for in Michigan and even at LSU and stuff. Like he talks about these young men and he knows these young men. And he feels like he was a part of their lives, like they were a part of his life, and that effect is so much stronger than the guys probably he's had an opportunity to coach in the NFL. Like, I'm not sure how many guys he coached in the NFL. He has the same relationships that he does comparatively to the guys he's coached as in college football.
Yeah,
that still call him coach or pops or whatever their nickname was for him. Like, and I feel like that is a huge. It's a huge difference, when you go from college to coaching college to coaching NFL. So
yeah, he's that was a guy that charged him in camp one time. They had to be held back. It was a book wrote about him in Miami. So that's a good point. And one more topic we'll get to before we run out of time. FS1, man, they started firing people like nobody's business. Fox Sports.
Can I say something too, real quick?
Go ahead.
Before we get on to all the situation of Joy Taylor and all that.
Yeah.
FS1, Fox, they've lost people and viewership numbers, not for the shows that were on there. They lost viewerships for the contracts they negligently get for different cable companies and providers. They're looking at viewership and numbers like this show doesn't do this and this show's not getting to.
So you're saying it goes with the cable company?
Yeah. Had they not been busted on Spectrum and have they not done screwy deals with like these huge cable companies, I'm sure the viewership numbers would have been a lot better, and some of these shows that they're canceling and that they're moving on from will kind of probably be, still there. But go ahead and
yeah. So I've been talking about her on my show. I don't think we did talk about it, but I'm trying to get into more topics that ESPN and those guys don't cover to build this program up. And the thing about Joy Taylor, as I told the audience beforehand, when this lawsuit for this hairstylist came up back in April, with this sexual harassment thing against this guy named, I think his name is Jamie Dixon, if I'm not mistaken. He is vice president at Fox. There was two. She was a hairstylist. There was another lawsuit against this woman. Brought this. Long story short, quick recap. She brought the attention of Joy Taylor. Taylor told her to get over it. Then allegations of Taylor sleeping with this guy. This is all out here. This ain't me saying this. For basically to get a better job, to get a better show and whatnot. Right. Then allegations. By the way, this guy's married. I looked this up today before I started the program. He's married with 2 kids. Then there's allegations of her sleeping with Emmanuel Acho to get on the show with him. Kind of lost her way. She used to work with Colin Cowherd. She comes off as a person, talks about grew up in the church and blah, blah, blah. My opinion, she kind of lost her way. I think she got caught up in the sports Hollywood, air quote, kind of scene there. She's the younger sister of Jason Taylor, used to play for the Miami Dolphins, you know. Kind of lost her way a little bit. Going back to this hairstylist, once she made this lawsuit, then another lawsuit came against this guy. Then he got fired back in April. Now, fast forward to this week in July, I guess because they were getting ready for the fall, they wanted to cut the cord on a lot of shows, including one of them was Craig Carton, who has his own past. You're familiar with WFAN, right?
Right.
He had some gambling issues from a scandal that got him in prison. I don't know if you remember this.
Yeah, ticket scandal. No.
Ticket scandal. Yeah, you're a New Yorker. You know about this story.
Right.
He got a second chance. I think he's a pretty talented guy. Cart's pretty good. But the show, they didn't like the show. Marcellus Wiley, I want to do this yesterday, but former employee left there. He's basically saying that everything tied to this guy was toxic, and they wanted to cut all those ties from that vice president from Fox, you know, and anything tied to Joy Taylor, from Joy Taylor to this, guys like LaShawn McCoy had a show, Paul Pierce, excuse me.
Okay.
Paul Pierce. But Mark Schlereth's show was cut. Now, Schlereth still does. He said this today or yesterday. He's still on NFL Fox, right, and he does a radio show in Denver. I like Sheriff. You've mentioned Schlereth before, too.
Right.
I think he'll bounce back. I guess really my whole point is, and plus they're talking to Dave Portnoy and the Barstool guys to bring some of those guys in to replace. I think the narrative to this is you build your own brand up. You have an audience. You're cancel proof. If you want to be a snake in the grass and suck up to the bosses and play the victim, because she's done this before. At some point you're going to have to deliver big numbers, or just like you got favor, you get your butt. You can get fired just as quickly as you can get hired. So that's my take. It's a long-winded answer. What's your take about that as far as the other side of it? They simply just wasn't getting good numbers. And they wanted to get rid of that toxic cloud hanging over him from Taylor and this former vice president.
Well, I feel like they took a page out of ESPN's book, too. Like when that stuff was happening on the other side of the river, they're like, oh, these people in Connecticut having issues, too. We can just do the same thing they did. And that's what they're doing. They're cutting shows. They're cutting ties with people. Some of them will rebound. Some of them might be affected by it a lot more than others. I think that Joy Taylor, I like her outtakes. She's very opinionated, but she uses a lot of facts to back them up for her opinion. So, I just think that she might have an opportunity to go to CBS. CBS has been doing a good job, and they do a very good job on building women correspondents. They have a lot of shows for women sports, about women's sports, about women in the industry. So she could bounce back quick if she was, if she uses her talent. And I don't think that was the last of her, to be honest with you. So
do you think she'll lean into that sex thing and maybe go jump on like a There's a real popular podcast called Who's Your Daddy podcast, a sex podcast, very popular, millions. Or go into OnlyFans. You think she'll go to the dark side like that, or do you think, nah, she probably won't do that? She'll learn from her mistakes.
I think what she said was kind of relevant to what the stage that she was in her life, and her age has to do with her age as well. I feel like she's in that time frame in her life where she's going to look at her age and what she could be doing, and I think she's going to steer away from that because she's brought herself up to be and talk as a professional. I think she wants to keep herself at that point. The point
she kind of lost her way and got up in the Hollywood.
I feel like she made personal decisions like everybody does in any kind of industry, and I feel like she got she's a martyr for that, I guess. And how you could say that. She's gonna get her, and but she has a perspective and she has skills and ability that if and as a fan and I'm watching this as a sports fan, I wouldn't mind seeing her again in something else. There's some people who do things, say things, and have a way about it when you're like, well, they get off of TV. I don't know if I ever want to see them. You mentioned a name like Wiley. I like how he talks. I like how the things that he says. He's very Marcellus Wiley is a very professional and a very well-spoken person. So I want to see him again in something different. So
him and Jason Whitlock, not to interrupt you, they left because they were lowballed.
Right.
And they wouldn't necessarily fire. Speak for yourself was good.
Right, yeah.
But the executives there did not like that.
Yeah. And
they got too close to home on their takes,
that's the nature of the beast. That's the industry that's the way it is. And that's not going to change. And you just got to make one small mistake or say something erroneous, and then you're like
that irritates a person with authority,
right? So then but I feel like with Joy Taylor, I feel like she'll be back, and I feel like if she doesn't use the CBS platform and she goes somewhere else and does something other than that, I feel like she'll be cutting herself short, because I feel like that platform, they've done a lot of work in podcasts and in the news to strengthen the perspective for women in sports,
That's
and
a
I
good
feel
prediction. She might bounce back there.
And as far as the other shows, I feel like they were too football laden, and sports fans lost interest because it was just like 70-80% football, and it was not other sports. And in the morning, you don't just want to hear about one sport. You want to hear what's going on everywhere, because it's their morning shows. So had they just been 20%, different sports, then I think they would have done better. A lot of
or they just don't carry the audience. Like, for example, people don't like Stephen A, but he has his Colin Cowherd, Stephen A. They carry an audience, even though Shannon Sharp may have lost his way at Fox or ESPN now. He had an allegation. He has a big audience though, right, with his other podcasts. Right. I don't think a lot of them people can carry an audience. I think Marcellus Wiley and Jason Whitlock, although he's went more political, I think they have their smaller audiences. But those big names, like even Dave Portnoy, people don't like Dave Portnoy, but he carries an audience, man. He has a following. Excuse me.
Yeah, the Barstools has a following. If Fox wants to dip into that, then good for them. If Barstool wants to dip into Fox, I'm not sure they want to go that route. But if they want to do that, I just feel like Fox is, as a whole cable company, as a whole provider of content, they limit themselves by trying to get way too much for the content that they provide. And some of the shows that we've watched, that we've enjoyed, even the football shows that they had with some of the former guys that you're talking about that just got fired this week, these guys know football. They could carry a football audience, but then you're forcing them to talk other sports.
Yeah.
And then their opinions always start then coming off like ours, because we're not basketball players, we're not football players. We start talking about these things. So then the audience members like, oh, My opinion.
You got to build your own following, and you can't depend on them to build your following. You have to have your own following and cube rating. That's where the money's at. You got anything else you need to plug, man? We're finished here, brother.
Yeah, I'm getting some a few program guests for programs and starting in September, and I'm working on a few things here. I'm going to go back to this baseball thing. I'm going to watch some games tonight. Just give a prediction of what's going on in the AL and NL East, and we'll go from there. It's just been tough few weeks, just getting my vacation started, and now I'm in rolling, so I'll have time to get into doing these things. So but like you said, man, it takes a lot of time to do these things, even though we do it for fun and we enjoy it.
Well, you do. It's still a business. I'm paying money into it. It's fun, but I'm paying. This is a company, and it's an investment, but it's fun, but it does take time.
Yeah, you guys make sure you guys sign up and support Robert and us.
Yeah, thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
And I'm gonna come down there in August. I'm gonna give you a schedule. Maybe we'll do a show in a few places that we know, and and then have some fun with it, bro.
Yeah, well, after I get moved, I'm gonna put a lot more effort into the show, building up. Maybe do some location stuff. Maybe do something at a game one day. Build an audience.
You got that penthouse next to the arena?
Yeah, no. It's a nicer apartment, much nicer place. But it's a little farther up. Very new. Carlos, Madden, New York. Let's have a good show today. That's one.
I like the draft one better.
Oh, you like the draft one? Shamir Stewart. Hey, I love that, man. Have a good night, buddy. Appreciate you. Hey, everybody. I'll be back next week. Hopefully, we can get 2 shows on. Have a good night. I'll see you next week, same time, same place here at the Real Sports Scope.